Hi everybody, welcome to my video on how to plan a daily routine and still have freedom and spontaneity. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, and I've struggled with this as well because it's hard to do these things and still have your freedom and spontaneity. And a lot of people thrive on those things, but it's also true that having a daily routine is good for your health. It's one of the best things you can do for your health. And it's also one of the most um, productive ways to make your life better is using a planner. And those also involve, time to plan, and you're writing things down and you're planning. And that seems to be the opposite of freedom and spontaneity. So, is there a way that you can have a daily routine and plan your life and still be spontaneous and have your freedom? So that is something I'm going to go over in this video. So like I said, they seem to be two contradicting concepts, planning things and being spontaneous. So what do you do if you want to build these good habits of planning and routine, but you're one of those people that values spontaneity and you'd rather not have to follow a checklist or rules or guidelines or plans? What do you do? So, I've struggled with this, and this is why I am writing this blog post because there's got to be other people out there that struggle with this too. Um, I am very obsessed with planners and routines, but at the same time, my overall life values do include freedom, having very little obligations and being free to do things spontaneously. So, like, you might have found yourself in this situation where you buy a lot of planners. And if you are like me, you might have stacks of them laying around that you've started, but you just can't stick with it because as each day comes, new things pop up, and then you decide to randomly do something that's not in your planner. And and they're so fun, I admit. These, even the computer programs that you can organize and plan things, they look so cool and they look so pretty, and even planners themselves, they're so addicting to buy and write in. But then you come to the problem of life just gets in the way. Nobody can follow a routine or a schedule 100% according to plan. So, but it's also true that when we are consistent, things work out better. We're more productive. So that is where I'm striving to help people figure out a way to work around these issues. So when you're traveling, this is one of the most common times where it's almost impossible to stick to a schedule or a routine. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you go on a vacation, it's very common to experience insomnia and stomach aches, constipation, and lots of digestive and bowel issues. And this is because the body needs routine in order to function properly. So it's kind of a weird thing because vacations are fun and your soul loves them, but your body doesn't. You might have noticed when you go on a trip and then you come home, you might come down with a cold because it's the disruption of your normal daily routine that weakens your immune system. So, I'm going to go over now some of the ways that you can have a daily routine that don't suck the spontaneity out of your life. So, the first one is to allow yourself plenty of free time. So, what this means is most of the routines that you're going to do are going to be morning and nighttime routines. And honestly, those only need to take 10 minutes or so. I mean, you can make them as long as you have the time for, but more is better. But if you really can't squeeze that much in. Or if you really hate routine that much, you can get by with 10 minutes, and that's um, good enough. So, while on your vacation, add a quick morning and nighttime routine to each day. This is what I just mentioned earlier, but this pertains to vacationing especially. So, if you decide to take a spontaneous trip across the country, how can you do this and still get routines? Very quick 10-minute morning and nighttime routine. You're probably going to be sleeping in a hotel or something, so before you get out of bed, or before you leave your room, you can do the things that you normally do at home, if possible. And there's a lot of things that are portable, such as bringing a journal with you, meditating, things like that. So the next one is kind of goes along with what I'm talking about, is to think of the routines as the bookends of your day. It's really about having a great beginning and a great end to your day, and having them be the same every day. So think of it as a percentage. Only 10% of your morning and 10% of your night are dedicated to routines. So total, that's only 20%, and that leaves you with 80% of the rest of your day. So that middle part, which is most of the day, you can be spontaneous, you can be free. That's a great way to think about it. Create routines that you love. So naturally, you will want to do things if you enjoy them. So don't put anything on your list if you have no motivation to do it. It's kind of like exercising. You're going to stick to the ones that you love and not dread doing the ones you don't love. So creating routines that you love is going to help you to do them. Creating short overlapping routine activities. This is one of the best suggestions on this list because, like I said, most of these you can do at the same time. For example, let's say you're a journaler like me. You really want to write out, you want to start your day writing out your feelings and your thoughts and your plans and all that stuff. But it takes a long time, especially if you're handwriting. So let's say another one of your favorite routines is to drink a cup of tea. And that also takes a long time because you got to wait for it to cool down a little bit. And then, depending on how big your cup is, it might take you half an hour to drink it. So combining those two together and drinking tea while you're journaling is a great way to knock both of those out. Another good example is, let's say you like to do yoga in the morning. And let's also say that you watching the sun come up is one of your favorite routines because it helps kickstart your day. It's very healthy to do that as well. So if you can, somehow, if you have a window that faces the sunrise, or if you can get outside and do yoga, do those at the same time. Do your routine activities anytime you want. This kind of goes against everything I'm saying in a way, but this is for the people that really struggle to stick to a routine. If you're really you're an extreme spontaneous person, you can still do routines just when they work out for you. So it's probably better to do it when you can than not at all. And here I have a list of daily routine ideas. So these are just a nice example of some things you can do if you're struggling to think of routines, because when people think of routines, sometimes they think of chores and to-do lists, and that's not what I mean. Daily routines, as I'm talking about, they're mostly self-care things. They're mostly ways to get you used to being awake and to get you wind down for bed. So I'm going to go over these. The morning one is the first one is to write down your dreams, and that's something that you don't have to do it, but it's just if you're a journaler, that's one of the journals that you can keep, and that's the best time to do that is when you're first waking up. Meditation, of course, and yoga, those two are two that you'll hear me mention them a lot because they really are so good for the body, mind, and soul. And watching the sunrise is great for your health. Writing in a journal is, I can't say enough about journal writing. It might be getting a little old by now, but I can't stress it enough. It's especially as a daily routine idea. I mean, it's good for morning and night. So, planning your day is another morning daily routine. And this is something that you can even do the night before. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit later. Going for a walk, and that's of course good for the physical health. Doing affirmations, drinking tea. These, and then drinking lemon water or drinking tea, these are both really good for to stimulate the appetite, to get the stomach ready for digestion. So it's a great thing to do in the morning. These next two are Ayurveda tips, dry skin brushing and tongue scraping. So what dry skin brushing does is it invigorates your skin, it exfoliates it, and it stimulates your lymph system. So you're getting your all the toxins, you know, mixed around and coming out. So those are great things to do in the morning. Tongue scraping as well, that's a good way to get rid of the ama, which is toxins that has collected on your tongue. You might have noticed your tongue is maybe has a coating in the morning. This is ama. This is toxins that have built up over the night. So you can buy these tongue scrapers. So that's a great way to start your morning. And exercise as well. Although exercise is something that, I mean, that's, you might be thinking of strenuous stuff, and I wouldn't do that early in the morning. In this section here, exercise pretty much just means either yoga or going for a walk. Or, maybe you are one of those people that loves to just jump out of bed, throw on your running shoes, and go for an hour. So if that's your type of exercise, go for it. Reading a book, that I think that works better for nighttime, but I put it on the morning one as well because it could be a nice, gradual, graceful way to get into your morning. Walking barefoot on the earth, oh, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's otherwise known as grounding or earthing. Work on a creative hobby. That's something that is, I don't think people do it enough, so I like to put it on this list to get people to think about it. Like maybe there's an hour in the morning before you go to work that you can work on whatever creative hobby you've always wanted to do or you didn't have enough time for. And then visualization is the last one. That's a great way to start your day. So, and then moving on to the night column, we've got a lot of the same ones as morning. Meditation, yoga, watching the sunset, writing in a journal, drinking tea, dry skin brushing. I usually do dry skin brushing in the morning, but if you didn't do it in the morning, you can do it at night. And they do recommend that you take a shower afterwards, but I don't always. I don't think it matters that much. As if you're doing it, it's doing some good. And then an oil massage is a great way to get ready for bed because this is another Ayurvedic tip, another thing that they do. Because the oil is calming, especially if you use sesame oil. So rubbing sesame oil on your skin, not the kind you drink or you eat, but the kind that it's made for your skin. You can also use any other oil that's good for the skin. And I like these more than lotions because lotions, they usually add, like the chemicals and the bad stuff in them. But oils are natural. And oils are also warming. So it's a great thing to do before bed. Reading a book. That's one of my favorite things to do before bed too. Taking a bubble bath, lighting candles. And as far as the candles go, that is something that I like to tell people to do as soon as the sun sets. This helps your circadian rhythm a lot because you're not using, like the blue light. So lighting candles is great. You can also use Himalayan salt lamps. I love those too. Turning off electronics. So if you're a person that sits on the TV or the computer a lot, try to not do so much of that after sunset. And if you do, use a blue light blocking program. Sit in front of a fire, and that's kind of like what our ancestors used to do, and it's one of the ways that helped them get a good night's sleep, and that's the only light they had. And I think that we need to go back to that because it's so healthy for the circadian rhythm and for the mental and emotional health because you're being too stimulated all day is not good. So, if you can sit in front of a fire, sit in front of a candle, it's one of the best ways to end your night. Use relaxing essential oils. I like to use them in the bath. And that'd be another way that you can knock out the bath and the oils at the same time. Listen to calming music, work on a relaxing hobby, visualization, and making a to-do list for the next day. That's one of my favorite things to do at night too, is making a to-do list for the next day because it kind of helps you clear your mind for sleep. All right, moving on. So this next section is going to be about planners specifically and planning your day, not so much the actual daily routine activities, but using planners. So planners can be anything from um, a work planner, a school planner, homeschool planner, a planner to just live your life by. So that's what this section is going to go over. And I'm going to talk about the ways that you can benefit from using a planner and still keep some fun and spontaneity in your life. So the first tip I have for you is to plan loosely. So you can write down the things that you want to do in a month and then give yourself the entire month to get everything done without having to break down exactly when you're going to do each thing. Like you don't have to plan down to the hour. You don't even have to plan which day. Just plan for the month. Make sections in your planner like things that you want to get done by Saturday or start these things in November, things like that. This method does require some more willpower, but once again, it helps you have freedom. So stick some fun things in there. And this means you don't have to just plan your chores and your to-do list. It's more fun to have a planner that's fun things, like when you want to watch YouTube videos or, things of that nature. The next one is make big goals a part of your plan. So this is, it's really the major reason why we use planners. And if you've got a bucket list and you pick a big goal and break it down into smaller goals, then all of a sudden planning becomes inspiring and motivational, and it's not dreadful and monotonous like most people think of planning. And then the last one is to get creative. So a good example of this is bullet journals, because in a bullet journal, oh, these are just amazing. I can't say enough good things about bullet journals because they're good for planning and they're good for journaling. So they're both combined into one. And actually, even more than that, they allow you to be creative. So it's almost like, you're doing your creative hobby and you're planning and you're writing down your thoughts. It's just the best thing in the world. Like the guy that invented bullet journals, I think his name is Ryder Carroll. You can Google him and Google bullet journals if you're not familiar. They're one of the best things that's ever been invented, in my opinion. So you can be creative, you can organize things, you can, use it as a journal. So it's just absolutely amazing. All right, so now I'm going to get to my Etsy shop, which is where I sell planners and journals. And I also sell daily routine lists, daily routine planner sheets. I've got all sorts of variations of planners, journals. I've got planners for your health, which is why it's based off of my website, Holistic Lifestyle Guide. And my Etsy shop is called Holistic Lifestyle 101. So on there is where I sell all my digital and printable journals, workbooks, planners, and checklists. And if you are someone that was spontaneous and you want to start doing these things, these planners are perfect because I make them coming from a standpoint of, wanting my freedom and spontaneity, but also, you know, organizing my life in such a way that improves my health. So, on that note, I'm going to end this video, and I really super hope that this helped you because I know there's a lot of people out there in the same boat as me. It's so hard to stay motivated to plan and do daily routines. And so that's my goal, is to help people find ways to do them and still have a happy, healthy, spontaneous life full of freedom. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.